Hey guys, it's Heather, the Butterfly Effect, plant-based extreme weight loss, with another episode of how to take off 100 pounds or more. In this series, we'll talk about how it's different to take off weight when you have a lot to go. And I should know, I started out at 436 pounds, my 5'2" frame, and I've taken off 175 of those pounds this year. And I did 100 of that in the last 7 months since January 1st. And this is how I did it. Now today we're going to talk about food and what I'm doing to take off the rest of the weight that I need to take off, which is another 125 pounds or so. And this is my recommendations on what to eat based on the following doctors. Dr. John McDougall and his son Craig McDougall. I actually see Dr. Craig McDougall through a healthy living program. I'm super happy to have him as my doctor. Dr. Joel Fuhrman. I really like what he has to say about choosing food by its nutritional value. So eating the very most nutritious food you possibly can. Dr. Esselstyn, who's a cardiologist who has proven that you can reverse heart disease and that no one ever need die of heart disease ever again. Dr. Greger of nutritionfacts.org. Love his evidence-based approach. Dr. T. Colin Campbell, author of the China Study, and the first person to prove that dairy is a very powerful carcinogen, causes cancer. And finally, one non-doctor, Victoria Butinko. She's kind of a personal hero and taught me so much about greens, and that has been hugely helpful for me. So Victoria makes that distinguished list too of the people that I'm going to reference. I want to say right now, this is what I'm doing. This is what works for me. You are not me. You are different. Your needs may be slightly different, or you may have other opinions, and that is okay. I am putting this out here because people ask me, what do you eat? What did you eat to take off 175 pounds? And so I'm going to tell you, I have no secrets. You might think my calories are too low. You might think my calories are too high. You may think that I'm completely wrong about coconut oil. You are welcome to your opinion. I am not trying to change you. I'm merely giving suggestions based on the advice of those doctors. I'm not a doctor. This is just what I'm doing. I just wanted to get that out of the way because, you know, it is legit to do other things than what I'm doing. And, you know, if that is working for you, I'm happy for you. I'm not here to try to change you. I love you and accept you no matter what you eat. This is not my religion. This is not, you know, there's no policeman that's going to come after you if you do something different. And the only prize that you're going to get is good health and, you know, a good feeling of knowing you're doing the right thing for the planet and for the animals and for the people and for yourself. So with all that preamble, let me just get into what I eat and what I think is the right thing to do based on the advice of those doctors. And forgive me if I'm reading some of this because I'm going to read some of this. Okay, just one second. All right. So the first thing is that your food should be plant-based. Plant-based is better for you, better for the environment, better for the poor and the malnourished people of the world, better for the animals. It's just a superior diet. I also believe you should eat a lot of raw food. I took off the first 75 pounds, mainly eating raw food. I have been 100% raw. I took off the next 100 pounds on an unprocessed vegan lifestyle. that included 50 to 75% raw food, especially green smoothies. And above all, eat greens. Green smoothies, green soups, green salads, greens as sandwich wrappers, greens in your soups and your sauces, snack on greens like kale chips, greens. Get your greens by any means. The reason that I value greens so very highly, beside their extreme nutritional pow that they bring to the table, they just bring a lot to the table. But one of the things that they do that's especially helpful for me is they cut sugar cravings. And I have found this to be extremely effective, especially I start every day with a green smoothie, and I believe that that helps me avoid sugar, which I think I'm very addicted to. So this is like my armor that I put on when I wake up in the morning. I have my green smoothie, and it kind of protects me from those horrible cravings. Okay, so that's my greens. The next principle is that your food should be unprocessed. Just very simply as close to how it came out of the dirt as possible. Leave your skins on your veggies if you can stand them that way. You should eat fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, beans, and greens, and prepared as simply as possible with little or no sugar, oil, or salt. And some processed foods you might have been told or might think are healthy foods, but are not, and our processed foods are coconut oil, olive oil, bread, pasta, even whole grain pasta, even whole grain bread, and sugar. Okay? And sugar goes by many, many names. So we're not just talking table sugar, which is also called sucrose. There's also dextrose and agave and maple syrup and coconut nectar and honey and 1,000 other things. Okay? It's all sugar, and you are better off without it. In my opinion, and in these doctors' opinion, you're also better off definitely without artificial sweeteners. Those are extremely no-go and carcinogenic and brain-altering and bad. But also non-nutritive natural sweeteners, or sweeteners that have no calories, like stevia. The problem is your body tastes sweet. It thinks that sugar is coming. It pumps up your insulin. And then you have that insulin circulating in your body, and that's a stress on your body, and it also makes you hungry because that's what insulin does. So it's tricking your body, and it's not a good idea. Don't fool it. Instead, sweeten with fruit. I like to use a very ripe banana or some dates or date paste, which is just dates mixed with water and blended in a food processor or something. That is how you sweeten. You sweeten with the fruit, the whole fruit, and nothing but the fruit, as my friend Chef AJ would say. Let's see. I am working toward no canned food. Right now, I still, occasionally will use, very occasionally, when I run out of time to make regular beans, I'll use canned beans, or I'll use canned tomato products and stuff like that. But I am definitely working on getting rid of those. If you're wondering how to do without oil, you can use water to saute. You can do a water saute. And instead of oil in baking, you can use a very ripe banana or applesauce or date paste in sweet foods. And I use, for savory foods, to replace oil in baking and things, I will use steamed and blended cauliflower mixed with water, and it makes like a bechamel type of sauce, or you can make it as thick or as thin as you want, but it replaces the oil and gives you the moisture that you're looking for. My advice is get an Instant Pot or a different electric pressure cooker. If you cook your food, it will change your life. It has changed my life. I rarely cook. I rarely use a can for beans anymore. I just make my own because they can go from, you know, dry beans to ready to go in 30 minutes. If I soak them, they only take 15 minutes. It's crazy. It's great. I love it. Okay. Avoid hyper palatable food if you are a compulsive eater. And that means that you should avoid things that are very sweet, very salty, or very high in fat. And definitely avoid the trifecta. So something like okay, a fast food meal, that's the trifecta. Because you've got greasy, you got animal products, you got salty, and you got sweet in your shake or your pop or whatever. That's like the epitome of a train wreck of a hyperpalatable meal. You should keep your food very simple if you can. Your food should taste good, but it shouldn't taste too good, if that makes sense. A good rule of thumb is if you are super excited to eat the food, it tastes too good and it's overexciting your brain. Okay? Your palate will change. Like when I first thought about eating, you know, a ton of veggies without even any salt on them, just like either raw or lightly steamed and no salt, I thought, you know, horrible. But I'm telling you, I really enjoy my food now, and it took about a month. It'll take about a month for you to get over the taste of the super sweet that you're used to, or the super oily, or the super salty, especially salt. For some reason, sweet was really hard, but it only took about 3 days maybe. Once I got off it, I could stay off it. But salty, for some reason, I really wanted. Okay, don't go for some artificial calorie target, either very low, like I'm going to keep my calories under 1,000 a day, or don't go, you know, for some calorie minimum, like I have to eat 1,000 calories at every meal, or I'm doing metabolic damage. There's very little proof of that metabolic damage stuff. You know, we've asked Dr. Greger about it, we've asked Dr. Campbell about it, we've asked a lot of people. Here's the deal, guys. This is your body. You own it. You decide what you need. And the way I think about it is, no animals in the wild are fat. They just don't get fat. And what they do is they eat when they're hungry, and they stop eating when they're not hungry, and they don't count their calories. And neither do I. Not anymore. I eat the right food. I definitely used to. I definitely, you know, when I started out, I was a train wreck. So just practice eating real food. Avoid fake foods, artificial sweeteners, artificial colors, foods that are supposed to be like other foods, like fake meats and things like that, fake cheeses. Wean yourself off of them. Use them for a while if you need to transition to a plant-based diet, and then wean yourself off of them as soon as you can. Let's see. Don't stuff yourself. Eat until you are just full. And you can practice mindful eating to help you to do this. So that's where you sit down, you really like smell your food, look at your food, taste every bite, and eat very deliberately. And I really try to cultivate a practice of being very grateful for my food. If you have food on your plate, you're luckier than a lot of people in the world, and so be very grateful for your beautiful food. And you know, this takes practice, and nobody does it perfectly, so just don't beat yourself up if you're not perfect at this. Just keep working on it. Just try to be more and more mindful. Okay, and then finally, above all, my last bit of advice is this is a process. This is an experiment. You may need to do different things to try to get it right. You may want to try a little bit higher fat, a little bit lower fat content. You may want to try more fruit, want to try more veggies. You may want to try, having something different for breakfast, skipping breakfast. This is an adventure. It's a fun game. You're gonna get where you're going either way, so might as well have fun along the way. You guys know that I talk about this a lot. I believe in filling up on a lot of veggies. I try to eat like 2 pounds of raw or lightly steamed vegetables a day. And so I do that. I also believe in a lot of, this is some watermelon. This is some grapes and cherries. So I eat a lot of fruit. And I do portion control on my starch. I don't eat very much starch. That's because I'm following more of McDougall's maximum weight loss kind of thing, Dr. Furman kind of thing, where I choose food by its nutrition content rather than by always going for like starch or something like that. For that reason, I don't eat like white rice. Yes, it's a starch and a lot of people like it, but it's processed. I don't eat processed food, so I eat brown rice, but I like quinoa better. And I personally have a gluten allergy, so I don't eat wheat products or barley products or things like that. But if you don't, Dr. McDougall says those are fine. And I think that's pretty much it. I just want to say, this is really important to me. This is not a religion. There is no vegan police that's going to come and chase you down. This is a process where we're getting better and better and trying really hard to do our best. And so I'm not perfect. I don't know anybody who is. I hope that your most important item in your diet is love, self-love, love for everybody else, compassion for yourself, compassion for everybody else in your life, and for the animals and for the planet and for other people. And that is the most important thing that should be on your plate every day. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, have a great day, and please share with me, do you eat like I do? What are you doing differently? What do you think of the recommendations that I have? If you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a thumb. If you think that there are other people who could benefit from watching it, I'd love it if you'd share it. Hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.